I'm a little wonky. That'll do. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing 5 years on from my thyroid cancer diagnosis. What is it like in my daily life? So I made some notes because obviously I literally have the brain of a sieve. I kind of had that before, kind of been made worse after the whole thyroid thing, but we will get into that. So the first most important thing is I rely on one form of medication to keep me essentially alive and normal for the rest of my life. I will now be on Levothyroxine for the rest of my life. That is because I do not have a thyroid gland. It was removed due to papillary thyroid cancer 5 years ago. So every single morning I wake up at 5:35 a.m., take my 2 tablets. I take 125 milligrams of levothyroxine. I'll show you what it looks like. I'm just getting all my prescriptions in these little lunch bag sort of things. Very important. So there you go, levothyroxine and levothyroxine. Can you say it? Can you say it? Anyway, levothyroxine. So I have to take those tablets every single day. They are essentially the pill that saved my life. Without it, I really would not be functioning again normal. So that's the only really different thing. I do have to take it at 5:35 in the morning or long enough before I have caffeine or food. Now, it is recommended that it's anything between 30 minutes and 90 minutes before you consume either caffeine or eat. Different doctors will tell you different things. I found that taking it that early, I like to work out first thing in the morning. So if I've taken my thyroxine at 5:35, I can have a coffee at around 6:15 and get started on a workout. That does then impact how I then take tablets for the rest of the day. So I can't then take anything containing paracetamol, ibuprofen, any sort of other drug for 4 hours. So even my contraceptive pill, again, I then have to kind of work it around that. So it is a little bit frustrating. Like if I do have a cold or a flu, I do have to wait a little bit before I can then take some pain relief or anything like that. So unfortunately, everything in life does come back down to those 2 tablets I have to take every single morning. In a normal functioning body with a normal functioning thyroid gland, your body will adjust the levels of thyroid hormone that are released into your body to assist with things like your metabolism, your internal body temperature, your mood, your hormones in general. And so for me, I have to have a blood test. It's gone down to about every 6 months to a year at this time. Back in the first 2 years, or even actually 3 years after my diagnosis, I had to do it almost like every 3 or 4 months just to make sure that I was suppressing the thyroid hormone so that it wouldn't like start up any cancer growth again. So it was kind of like suppressing it just in case there was any teeny tiny parts of my thyroid, my cancerous thyroid that was left. So now I do it about, every 6 months or a year, depending on my symptoms. So that can be a little bit frustrating in that I do get the extreme hots and colds. I do get the brain fog. Not that some people believe me on that, but it is like a real thing. So it's just, everything in my life kind of comes down to those tablets, but I'm super grateful that they exist or I wouldn't be here. Right, on to the next. So initially, I will not lie, it was extremely difficult in the first 2 years or so dealing with taking a synthetic hormone and dealing with the side effects to do with that. As I spoke up before, kind of the sensitivity to hot and cold and just the sort of digestive and food related issues I did really struggle with, because obviously as a young woman you don't want to have to take a tablet that's going to affect your weight and your body composition in such a way, because as well, it can increase the risk of early onset osteoporosis if you don't exactly get the right levels and things like that. So it's one of those things I've had to come to terms with, and it does mean that I do need to, air quotes, work a little bit harder. So if I do need to lose weight, or if I do need to, it takes a little bit longer for me to do those things. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because I thoroughly enjoy exercise and fitness and it is one of my hobbies. But it just is always a kind of weighing in the back of my mind, just the things about the metabolism and the way that the food I eat and the weight I am can sometimes be because of those 2 little tablets I take to live. So I have struggled with that. I probably will do a whole video on that because it is actually something that weighs on my mind quite a lot, especially. Oh yeah, so one of the worst things with taking levothyroxine I found was if you take too high a dosage, and now it is all of a little bit of trial and error in the beginning, but if you take too high of a dosage, you do have a risk of increasing your heart rate, which is something I've unfortunately dealt with about 4 times now. I've had what's called a heart arrhythmia. 3 of those times I have actually been in hospital because my heart literally is like, what is going on? And it just doesn't have a regular beat. It feels like it's going a million miles an hour. My brain's going a million miles an hour, but at the same time I feel like foggy and I feel like I can't focus on anything. It's actually a really horrible experience and I truly hope nobody ever has to deal with it. But that was I still kind of get it. I'm really conscious of it, but whether it's just because I'm aware of it now, but it is something that I had to come to terms with, is this like heightened heart rate, which does also lead into this sort of like biological anxiety, which I struggled with so much in the first year because I had to be hypothyroid because we were trying to suppress it so the cancer didn't come back. But it meant that I just had I was like on edge the whole time. It's really hard to explain, but the anxiety was like not just from like environmental factors, but my biological responses. So I was sweating, my heart rate was up, I was getting clammy palms and all that stuff. It was just took a long time to get used to. Obviously being 22, 23 years old is also quite an anxiety inducing period of your life. So that wasn't very fun. I didn't enjoy that. And I am still coming to terms with that on a daily basis. The tired feeling. So it's now 5 years on and I am still struggling with sort of chronic fatigue syndromes and what one of the specialists at the Royal Marsden has coined post-viral fatigue, because in my blood it has shown up that I was diagnosed with something called Epstein-Barr virus, which is the American strain of, in England, what we refer to as mono or glandular fever. So that kind of like quote unquote knocks me on my arse. I'm not going to be completely like, the fatigue is definitely something, and anyone that struggles with chronic fatigue or thyroid issues, I am right there with you, because you honestly feel like you'll sleep for 10-15 hours and you'll wake up like, oh God, my body can't function. It's really weird and I'm still coming to terms with it. And I think as a thyroid warrior, it is something I'm going to deal with for years and years to come, but I just take it in my stride every day. I think on a positive note, my outlook on life has dramatically changed, and I struggled in the first 1 to 3 years, very broad. But in the first couple of years, I hate saying I played the victim, but I honestly felt like the world owed me something. Again, this might be early 20s mentality anyway, but it was just to the point that I let it affect my friendships, I let it affect my work relationships. I was just constantly feeling like I have had this handed to me, so I deserve something amazing because I've gone through this terrible thing. And I mean, yes and no, but the world keeps turning, Lucy. You're not the centre of the universe as much as you do think you are when you're 22 years old. So I'd say that coming out of this, in this 5-year journey to where I am now, I've tried to be more grateful and thankful and just aware of my aura. Because honestly, I wouldn't have liked to have hung around me, to be honest. Like, the first 2 years, I had a victim mentality. It didn't help anything. And as we become more and more aware of how important our mental health is, that probably didn't help with all the reoccurring symptoms I was facing. So I was probably just, being a victim of my circumstances, and I just couldn't. I look back and I just want to shake myself like, Lucy, stop it. God, I was so annoying. I also felt very isolated at the time. I had incredible friends. I have incredible family. I still have incredible friends. But I just honestly, I felt like no one got me, you know? Oh, so awful. I'm so glad I've grown out of that. And again, I don't know if that's just because I'm now in my mid-20s. Oh, gross, I hate saying that. But I just feel so much more positive, and I have a positive outlook on life, and I don't know if that would have happened if I didn't go through this. So overall, I am thankful and I am grateful. All the NHS doctors, nurses, hospital staff, surgeons, anaesthetists, all that fun stuff that I had to go through back in 2015. And then since 2015, I've had my Macmillan nurses, I've had everyone at the Royal Marsden. Like, oh my goodness, I feel every time I walk into the Royal Marsden, I feel like I am the most important person in the world. And I adore that, because cancer, like I said, can be extremely isolating, and I know everyone's gone through it before. Okay, the type of cancer I had and the age I got it, there's the statistics, I don't even want to look at it into it, but I should have bought a lottery ticket, let's be honest. But I have rambled on now. But if you've got anything from this, it is that a lot can change in 5 years. Obviously, we know that. I can delve into like things I've spoken about in more detail, especially if you are a thyroid warrior, or if you are going through any sort of cancer or thyroid cancer, or any sort of chronic illness really. I really just want to reach out and make people feel at ease talking about it, because gratefully over the last 5 years it is not taboo anymore to talk about your mental health or pain and suffering, all that really not so fun stuff. But this is just going to be the beginning of the next part of my journey. So thank you for watching. That word doesn't exist because who knows. And lastly, I just want to say thank you for watching. Stay tuned on this channel, follow me on I don't know if I can even edit stuff down there, but follow me on social media. Thank you guys, bye.